What's good, y'all? What's good, Real Talk Squad? This is Miles, and you're listening to Real Talk with Miles Johnson, where you know we always keep it real. The Sixers, they got cheated, bro. They got cheated. And it's sad that a team like the Clippers has all of their stars, and they still need help from the refs. And the part that I hate about the NBA is that they implemented a review of what the refs missed. So it's more salt on the wound now. Now it's like the refs in the Clippers and Sixers game made the wrong call and Kelly Oubre was actually fouled. But they don't go back and say, you know, we going to run back. You know, y'all got to come back to Wells Fargo Center and we got to run back this play or whatever. They just say, yeah, we are wrong, but still take that L. So what's the point? There's no point of even having a review for the refs if you're not going to keep them accountable or if you're not going to change the outcome of that game. These games are very, very important to seeding, bro. Come on. Regardless, I like the heart of this Sixers team. I've been down on them all year long. But what I love about this Sixers team is that now they're starting to have that fight. A guy like Kelly Oubre, he's got that dog in him. Tyrese Maxey, he's a young player who is in the first time of his career in the NBA. Now he's the number one option in the absence of Embiid. And he's had his growing pains, but he's coming into his own. Tobias Harris, he still has to, be more aggressive because only shooting the ball 9 times when you're the second best player on the team against a playoff team like the Clippers, and you need every win you can get, is simply unacceptable. So we have to look at it though and be like, if Joel Embiid can come back 90% healthy, I'm crossing my fingers. Let's just say the Sixers, they get that 8th seed. They play Boston. All right. Who's the best player in that series? Joel Embiid. Who's the best coach in that series? Nick Nurse. Those are very, very important things. So Tobias Harris, if he improves and has a very good postseason, all I'm saying is I believe this Sixers team, they will push the Celtics to 7 games. They will. If they're the 8th seed, Boston's number 1 seed, they face each other in the first round, the Sixers can definitely make it a series. I don't have them winning. I ain't going to go that far. But they are going to tire them out. It's not going to be no sweep. And it's certainly not going to be a gentleman's sweep. So I'm letting you know to prepare yourselves for a long series, for a couple of games that are going to be stolen at TD Garden. And the Sixers are really going to bring it to the Celtics because they're playing with house money. The Celtics have all the pressure. They literally have to get to the finals. They can't be a number 1 seed that loses to an 8th seed. So that's a very, very dangerous situation for the Sixers. And they're a very, very dangerous team if Joel Embiid can somewhat be healthy. Nick Nurse, he said that he feels very confident that Joel Embiid will be back before the playoffs. And he's not saying that if he has a clear indication that his guy is going to be back before the playoffs start. So I'm riding with the Sixers. It took me a long time, to get to this point all season long. But although they lost, I'm liking how they're playing. We're going to cross our fingers that the big man, Joel Embiid, he comes back. Saquon Barkley, he was on the New Heights show with Jason Kelce, Travis Kelce, and Saquon said, hey, you ain't got to watch Jason. Because Jason, he's been saying, hey, y'all looking nice. I mean, I wish I knew this before I retired. It's like, bro, Jason Kelce. Jason, it's not too late, brother. It's not too late. You can pull a Tom Brady. The city of Philadelphia, the NFL community will embrace you. I know ESPN, these networks are trying to get you to be a play-by-play guy and do color commentating. We don't need that. We need you on the field. You don't have to have such a high usage rate like you had last season, but 20, 40% of snaps, 45% of snaps, be good. Some elbow, you know what I'm saying? Put some grease on that elbow, on that knee. Be like brand new. You're like brand new. So I love Saquon's just attitude though. He's showing that like he's all in, and every day that I hear Saquon just speak highly of the Eagles, highly of the organization, I'm proud. I'm proud to know that we built a culture organization that players want to come here. Because best believe Saquon could have went to the Texans. The Texans, they wanted to get Saquon. They did. But he chose Philly. I know some Giants fans are upset. It's like, bro, you had the chance to pay him and you did not. So stop whining, stop crying, and kick rocks. And see us twice a year. That's just what it's going to be. Don't be mad because you paid Daniel Jones a mega contract. Use the money that you could have used to sign Saquon to a long-term deal. The most laughable part about the Giants is the fact that they paid their quarterback a mega contract, which hurt them in re-signing their former number 2 overall pick. And then now they're talking about if we see a franchise guy at quarterback in this draft, instead of improving the offensive line, instead of getting a skill position player, you're going to get quarterback. Like the Giants and Commanders, I mean, look, they aren't good. They just aren't good franchises. If the Giants, if they get Jaden Daniels, I'll be like, okay, good move. Good move. That's the only guy that I'm like, okay, good move. You feel me? But they get Drake May, JJ McCarthy. I'm celebrating. Like it is a Super Bowl win. What happened after the Super Bowl? What did I do? I ran out in Overbrook and I was singing Dreams and Nightmares. DOA! Every song this I'll do the same exact thing if that happened with the Commanders getting JJ McCarthy, with the Giants getting Drake May. That would be something, but we are definitely going to see. I do want to talk about this Nick Sirianni and Jeffrey Lurie. Look, the Eagles, they're still suffering from that Chip Kelly era. When Chip Kelly, he was a head coach, he ruined the franchise, he had too much power, and so then ever since they let go of Chip Kelly, they don't want to give a head coach that much power. And it's sad because that's why Doug Pearson, he left, because he wanted to be able to choose his own coordinators. Jeffrey Lurie is like, no, I want you to pick this guy. Pick this guy. I don't want this guy. Doug is like, I just won y'all a Super Bowl 3 years ago. What are we talking about? Why are you questioning me at my job? I don't question you at your job. Like, and then what happens? He's fired. He goes to Jacksonville. Jeffrey Lurie was saying he wasn't in conversations about the coordinators. This was Nick Sirianni's decision. That's the most laughable thing I could have ever heard. And if you actually believe that, open your eyes and realize you do. Pete, it was Jeffrey Lurie, Harry Roseman, Nick Sirianni that sat down. Lurie and Roseman said, yo, we like these guys. If Nick was like, I don't like him, he'd be gone. Like, Nick had no other choice but to agree with the coordinators. Nick had no say to hire anybody. It had to be people that Lurie and Roseman 100% loved. It happened to be a guy in Kellen Moore who previously interviewed for the Eagles head coaching position after Doug Pearson got fired, or Vic Fangio, where they love his defensive scheme and they're like, yo, if we can get the originator of this defense, that would be amazing. And once he was available, they went ahead and picked him up. So Nick Sirianni had nothing to do with the coordinators. I'm not convinced. It was all the owner and or the GM. Nick Sirianni is in the hottest seat in the NFL next season. Because if the Eagles start off slow, they're looking at one guy and one guy only, Nick Sirianni. Now, I'm not the fan of keeping the guy, but look, he's going to be with us, so I got to go ahead and root for him, bro. I got to go ahead and root for him. And I do believe that the Eagles, they will turn it around, but it won't necessarily be because of Nick Sirianni's X's and O's. But the players like him. What can I say? I ain't in the locker room, bro. I want to talk about Jalen Hurts real quick. There's nothing you can say that will make me dislike, make me not believe in Jalen Hurts. He is a dog, bro. I'm trying to tell you, figuratively and literally, he's a dog. He's gonna learn from what happened last year. If you watched Eagles games, game in and game out, you know he had an uphill battle with the OC and head coach that was calling these plays. He's gonna get back in the lab and do better with reading blitzes. But having a guy like Saquon Barkley is going to help him a lot against the blitz. I truly think Jalen Hurts will be a top 2 MVP candidate next season. And I felt disrespected when I saw that the Eagles had the same over-under win total as the Cowboys when they clearly have a better roster top to bottom. It's not even close. It's not even close. The Cowboys don't have a freaking running back. And there aren't that many studs, if any, in this draft at running back. So who you about to sign? Who you about to sign? Come on now. The Eagles' disrespect has to stop, and you all will never learn because it happens every single year. You believe in the Cowboys, they let y'all down. Every single year. Happens every time. I think the last thing on the Eagles is really like, I'm excited for Devontae Smith next season. I'm pumped for Devontae Smith next season.
No diddy.
Because the way that he ended last season, $140, showing that when it's called upon, he can be that wide receiver one. And that's my thing though, right? I saw this thing. It was a start bench cut. Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, and Garrett Wilson. Now, look, if you want to start Garrett Wilson because Zach Wilson has been his quarterback and he's still been able to put up numbers, I'm not mad at it. But him and Devontae, they're right there. I'm 100% certain that Devontae could do the same thing Garrett Wilson does in New York if he was the number one wide receiver. Because Garrett Wilson, if he was paired up with A.J. Brown, he would be the number 2. So you can't compare a wide receiver 2 who's getting wide receiver 2 touches compared to a wide receiver 1, no matter who the quarterback is. So I'm going to always start Devontae Smith. I'll bench Garrett Wilson, and Jalen Waddle, he's getting cut. That's not even a question. But Devontae Smith is literally putting up wide receiver 1 numbers, and he's getting targeted like a wide receiver number 2. Take that into account. Let that sink in. Let that digest. Let that marinate. Devontae Smith is that freaking boy, man. He's that freaking boy. And I do like Hassan Reddick a lot. And it doesn't make sense for the Eagles to let go of him when you're trying to win a championship and you're in championship win now mode. But at the end of the day, Devontae is the priority. You must extend him. If anything is in jeopardy of that, I don't care. That's my thing. Last thing with the Phillies. The Phillies, for my NBA folks, I always want to connect MLB to NBA. Everybody watches basketball and all that, but we're gonna cover a bunch of baseball this year. The Phillies are like the Heat. Don't get too hyped up if they're not doing that well in the regular season. If they're up and down. But here's what I know. Come postseason time, there isn't a team that I feel better than the Phillies. Whenever it's October, it's Red October. That's a real thing. The Phillies, they get their act together and they show everybody, who the F we are. So I'm very, very excited for this season. I wouldn't like to see, just for my mental, I wouldn't like to see too many highs and lows. But I know at the end of the day, as long as the Phillies are in the postseason, they'll be all right and they'll make a deep playoff run. But I'm loving this Phillies team. Bryce Harper. I think Bryson Stott's gonna, level up his play. So I'm feeling very, very good about this Phillies team. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all that jazz. With that being said, y'all, it's Real Talking Miles Johnson, where I always keep it real. I'm out, y'all.